What is up today, YouTube? Today is the day that you guys have all been waiting for. We're going to get rid of this little ass wheel, factory front end, and we're going to put on 26-inch Lincoln Renegade, misfit fender, everything. This is the day that you guys have been waiting for. We're going to start tearing this thing all apart. Ooh, get you guys figured out there. And we're going to start building it back up. Probably going to be a two-part series. First part on the teardown, second set on the build. But make sure you comment, like, subscribe, so that way you can stay tuned to everything that's going on. So let's get the tools out, get the tripod in focus, and get to work. We're going to start tearing this thing down by getting the outer fairing off. First thing that we need to do is take the T25 fairing retention bolts off. There's two bolts here. Get them pulled out. I want to show you guys something too. These bolts are two different lengths. The bottom bolt is a short bolt. The middle bolt, or the top bolt, whatever you want to call it, is longer. If you put the longer bolt into the bottom hole, will it work? Yes, it will go in. And if you thread it all the way in, it will cause a dimple on the front of your outer fairing. So make sure you guys, when you take these out, if it's your first time, make sure you label them separately, bottom bolt, middle bolt, so that way you don't have to repaint your tank. Get the other side off and we'll get right back to it. Before we go any further, before we get the bike up in the air to take the wheel and the legs and everything else off, we need to get all the brake fluid out of both the brake reservoir and the clutch reservoir. The easiest way to do this is to take your two Phillips head screws off, carefully take your cap off, sit that in a clean location so you don't get any dirt and contaminants into your brake fluid when you put it back on. And I just have a little tool that I made. It's a big syringe with a hose on it. You can use a turkey baster. I've seen guys use a million different things. At the end of the day, you just want to get as much fluid out as you can, because we're going to be disconnecting the brake system. We're also going to be laying these handlebars back onto the tank when it comes time to put the top triple trees on, or to take these triple trees off, I should say. So if you're not doing a complete build like this and you didn't know it, .4 brake fluid will eat your paint off your motorcycle and erode it. The clutch side is normally a little bit messy. So I always like to stuff a paper towel down in there to contain any mess and spillage that may happen. We're just going to suck this out same way we did that stuff's nice and dirty. It only has 3,000 miles on it, but look at how dirty it is. Either way. What I like to do is take the clean paper towel, stuff it inside the master cylinder. That way it soaks up any fluid that's in there and doesn't allow it to run out when we disconnect the lines. Okay, we're back. The first thing that we're going to want to do is cover our fender. Don't want to drop anything on it. Don't want to get any dings, dents, scratches. You can resell those things on eBay. You can sell them to a buddy. We're going to remove the 3 bolts, T25, that hold the outer fairing in place on the front, and then it'll come right off. I always leave the middle bolt first, or to last. That way it just holds everything together for me, and I got a centered grip on it. Pull it out a little bit of the way. Give the fairing a shake. The windshield will release. It's supposed to release. Take the windshield off. Make sure you support the outer fairing, bottom of the headlight. Screw that bolt out. And then, just so you don't get it mixed up, actually, there's a connector right there. If we let that sit for a second, get a pair of needle nose pliers, reach in there and push the retainer through. And the headlight the whole outer fairing just came off. Headlight still installed. Low beam on the top, high beam on the bottom, but we got the whole connector out. So let's get this off camera. If this bike had turn signals on it, I'd already taken them off to give them to the customer so that he had them back. We would remove the turn signals next. But instead, we're just going to remove the turn signal bolts. The upper ones. Oh, did the upper ones already. Okay. While I was around the front, I should have gone ahead and just get you guys moved over there. Show you what I'm talking about. You can't see. On each side of the fairing cap, the inner fairing cap, there's 2 screws. We're going to want to pull those screws to release the inner fairing cap from the outer fairing cap. I'm gonna bring you back around to the front now. Now this bike is gonna get the customer is going to take the interfering and have it custom painted. If you're not having your interfering painted, you can actually remove all of this with this still intact. So I'm going to do it that way just to show you guys who aren't getting your fairing painted how to do it. Sure, somewhere down the line there's going to be a stereo video coming that'll explain a lot of the outer speaker pod removal and radio removal and things of that nature. Remove the 2 bolts at the top, fairing vent comes out. Okay. So what we want to do here, move you guys around to the other side so that you can see. Let's get you zoomed in. Those 3 plugs right there all have a positive flip lock retention system on them. If you lift it up right here, this little white tab, do it so that you can see it. Pry it down. And slide it forward. Okay, there's that retention lock I was talking about. Same one here. It's kind of hard doing it so you guys can see. I just have a little right angle pick here. Pry it down. Push it forward. And that whole harness releases. Alright. All we're going to be doing is releasing all pieces of the harness that are holding the fairing to the bike. Get out my panel popper, release that Christmas tree, release that Christmas tree, guys, it's a good idea as you're going through and doing this to label your connections. I'll show you how to label them here in a second. Right here, you just push in, slide that handle forward, and that comes off. These little wires right here for the radio. I'm sorry, for the handlebar controls. Okay. And then, let's see. This one here is held in place like so. So Harley does a very good job of making sure all their connectors, there's only one like it in the fairing. Makes it easy for installation at the factory. Makes it easy to track down if there's a problem. Also makes it easy for us to take apart and reinstall. But to ensure that you get the right connectors on hooked back up when it's time for reassembly, I recommend you take a piece of masking tape, painter's tape, whatever you have, something you can write on, and mark the connectors. This would be connector 1. Okay, the next connector, and then take it apart. The next connector would be connector 2, connector 3, connector 4. When you're putting the bike back together, you can lay the entire harness back over it. I have connector 1 in my hand. I need to find connector 1 from the motorcycle. Oh, there's 1 and 1. Plug it back together. Quick, simple, easy. Just go double check up inside here to make sure there's no other connectors that we're missing. Make sure the brake line's routed out of the way, and it is. All right. Everything's free. Disconnect the pieces for the antennas and whatnot. Got the USB cable and then the AM/FM antenna. If you had a Street Glide Special, Ultra Classic, Road Glide Special, you'd have a GPS antenna right here that looped up to here. So let's go ahead and get our impact out with our 9/16. Take the fairing retention bolts off and hold the fairing to the frame. Point. You take the bottom two out, the chrome lower retention or chrome lower skirt can come off. We can put that away. And if I did everything properly, and I got all the connectors, this piece here just lifts up and out. Snagged on one of the antenna wires. There you go. It's disassembled. Put this back out of the way as a complete unit. I will come back through off camera and take that all apart. I'll do it one day after we get this front end mocked up. Just that way, not wasting your all's time. Connectors being a pain in the ass. There it is. Alright. And all the work we put in the last episode, putting the tank on, the tank's got to come off, so that way we can get the interfering cap off, but that's okay. You guys already know it's just 4 bolts. I'm going to take the camera. I'm going to take the tank off camera. We'll be right back. Okay, got the bike up on the lift. We'll go ahead and take all these wires for now and tuck them back up out of the way. We're going to uncover the fender. And then we're going to get out my wife's little baking pan. We're going to finish draining the brake system after we take the fender off. The fender on these newer bikes is amazing to come off. It's got 4 1/4-inch or 4 1/4-inch Allen heads to hold it in place. Right here on the fork. Those will not get reused, but we still put them to the side just in case. As you're doing this support the fender, you did see it rock to the back when I took the back bolts out, but you definitely don't want it to rock or drop or anything once you take this last front bolt. Got our fender free. Give it a gentle squeeze as you bring it up around and through, so that way it doesn't contact the triple trees or the forks and put a scratch in it. Handy dandy wrench drawer. Half-inch wrench. Take the bleed screw off, or the banjo bolt screw I should say, and then just let that hang and drain. While that's hanging and draining, I'm going to move you guys, show you where the brake levers, where the brake hoses are secured. On the older bikes, there's a union or junction block, whatever you want to call it, that's attached to the bottom side of the triple tree. On these new bikes, you just have a clamp right there. You literally just pull it free. And it doesn't matter whether it's an ABS bike or a non-ABS bike, that front junction block is there. Go ahead and break my top connection off. Help if I got the right size wrench. It's a 12 millimeter, not a 1/2 inch. And as I take this bolt off, it is actually going to increase the flow out of the line that I already disconnected for the caliper. All right, because it's introducing air into the system and releasing the vacuum. Let that drain for a couple minutes. We'll get started on something else. Okay, next thing to come off is the brake calipers. 2 10 millimeter bolts. Hold them in. Impact makes quick work of them. Right here on each side, 10 millimeter impact. Hold the caliper so it doesn't fall. And slides right on the plate. These calipers will not be reused. The customer's going to a single side setup. Got to show off that big sexy wheel. Gonna get the bike supported, the front end and the back end. When I'm doing this, I like to have the frame have 2 points of contact, so I put a 6x6 underneath of the rear, and I slide my jack forward as far as I can. And just crank it up a little bit till the tension's relieved off the front end. All right, so we're going to take the wheel off next. 6mm Allen on this side holding the front end in. Just a pinch bolt. And then let's see if I can guess the size. 15/16 for the win. Move this. Get a soft face persuader out and start tapping that through. And it should loosen up to the point that we can just pull it out. You might need to adjust the height of the lift to change the amount of tension on your wheel. Or, I'm sorry, adjust the height of the lift to change the amount of tension on your axle. Loosen up our clamp, grabbing our spacers so that they don't fall. Roll the wheel forward and get it out. From here, we're going to drop the fork legs out. They are going to be changed out to a custom piece. So the stupid battery on the camera just died. Hopefully you guys didn't miss anything. If you did, well, I'm sorry. I'll catch it when I edit it. So to remove these fork tubes completely out of the motorcycle, 1/4 inch Allen, loosen them all up a little bit. Just get them loose, don't remove the bolt. And the fork tube, once I move my wheel vise, slides right out. Move the slider cover as well while we're here. 8mm for the win. And just to make them easy to find, thread them back up into the old slider covers. Even though we're not going to reuse these, makes them easy to find. Go get a sandwich, go get a beer. I'm going to take the other side apart and then we're going to get these triple trees off. We're back and we're going to take the handlebars and the upper triple tree off of this motorcycle. First thing you want to do, whether it's a painted or unpainted tank, is protect your tank so that way you don't get any problem, you don't have any problems with it. All these wires that we threw up here a little bit ago, we're going to pull these down out of the way. Disconnect the ignition switch little 2-pin connector, and that comes out. Right. And then we have a zip tie outside of the frame holding the clutch line to the riser. So we need to get that broke free. All right, everything's free. And while we're at it, we're going to go ahead and break the clutch line free from the master cylinder. Now she's free. So we don't make a mess. Get out the baking pan, drain pan. Let it hang into that. Okay. Put the bolt back in the master cylinder so that we don't lose it. Wipe off any fluid that's running out of there. Shouldn't be any, but you never know. All right. Now I need to get my impact, an extension, and a 3/4 inch swivel socket. Take the riser bolts out. This is going to allow me to slide the handlebars back up on top of the tank. Like so. There is a 8mm ground holding this ground wire to the riser bolts. Let's go ahead and zip that free. Riser washer. And actually what we're going to do is put down another blanket on the floor. Just go ahead and remove these handlebars completely. All right, let's bring the lift down. And then we will get you guys finished up here for the day. We're in the home stretch. Take a 4mm Allen. Remove the bolts that hold the ignition switch in to the top clamp. keep them together as an assembly or as a unit. Sit them on the bench because we'll need those when we go to put the new unit together. Loosen the top triple clamp pinch bolt, and it just lifts right off. And then the last thing before cool shit starts happening, inch-and-a-half nut on the top. We'll release the triple tree from the motorcycle. And that's it, guys. That right there is a motorcycle that is ready to accept a 26-inch wheel neck rake kit. We're going to be doing a bolt-on kit because that's what the customer wanted to do. He wanted to retain his factory frame warranty. He also wanted to be able to return the bike to stock in the future if he decided to sell it. He just wanted to have that flexibility. Whether you're bolting on a kit or you are cutting the neck of doing a cut neck kit, this is how far you need to get the motorcycle down to. You need to get it down to the butt naked. So next episode on this build is going to be the reassembly of the front end. We're going to put on some Carl Brew hard sliders, fork slider covers. We're going to put on the Arlen Nest smooth hot legs. We're going to put on the MC Baggers neck rake kit. Whole thing. Show you from start to finish. Show you from here all the way to the wheel and fender being on, rolling off the lift. So make sure you comment, like, subscribe. Still don't have a name for this build. Leave it in the comment box below. Until then, have fun, ride your motorcycle, stay safe.